Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Publishing 6090. And for those of you that showed up and we weren't able to connect this morning because, as you can see, I'm out in the wilderness, and so the connection isn't the greatest. I'm just hot spotting, so there's going to be some lag. So, like I said to you, I'll record it. The recording is in progress, and I'll send it to you. So that way you can watch it, when you're making supper, or if you're settling down in the evening, or you're getting ready for work in the morning, you can listen to it on your own schedule. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Rain Dalrymple, and I have the publishing company called The Writer's Cave. For any of you that want to reach me, I'll just state it right at the beginning so that, there's no concern how to get a hold of me if you don't watch right to the end. But I do encourage you to watch right to the end, because that's when I'm going to share all of the bonuses that we have for this summer's program. So you can reach me at Rain Dalrymple on Facebook, at The Writer's Cave. And you can also email me at intherwriterscave@gmail.com. And if you do add me on Facebook, the quickest way we know is through Messenger. I do most of my interactions through Messenger on Facebook. It's quick, it's in the moment. And as we know, we're all about that, right? We want to be able to just push a button and get an answer as quickly as we can. So a little bit about me. I wrote my first book, Sight Beyond Sight. That would be about, almost 3 years ago. So 2.5 years ago, possibly. And maybe that is backwards, but Sight Beyond Sight. It's all about imprinting our soul's journey. So it is a beginner's book, but it's also an advanced book, because I talk about a lot of the spiritual experiences I've gone through over the years and how I came out of those difficulties and those challenges. So it's very encouraging because it's got a little bit of everything in there. Okay. And I also introduced the 8 Keys to Consciousness, which, by the way, that will be a program in the coming fall and winter of 2023. That can be found on Amazon. And we've also got our latest book, Holistic Oracle, and that is a body, mind, spirit healing book, which has 16 authors in it. And they're all well-versed. Some of them have already, I think there's 4 of our 16 that are authors themselves. They've written several books, and some many books. So they talk about their life experiences as well and what they do. There's things like crystal healing, Reiki masters. We've got a fellow that does, Daniel does physical therapy, different. I think he uses not jujitsu, but I can't recall right now what modality he uses, but he's, the physical components. He bikes, he jogs, all that kind of stuff. So there's, and then we've got Cheryl. She's the psychic medium, and she talks about her experiences and how we can tap into that as well. So there's just like a wealth of information out there. So let's get back to Publishing 6090. So this program is all about writing in the summer and why we do that. We know it's a busy time, and we also like to, like I say, be outdoors. And if any of you caught my video yesterday, I was out on the bay in a kayak. Oh, poor me, I know. It was beautiful. So those are the kind of things that we can do when we run our own companies and we're entrepreneurs. We set our own hours. We say when we work. So, in the morning we might get up and have our yoga routine and then write for a couple of hours, and then we can spend the afternoon in the summer sun doing whatever activity we love to do. So that's a big perk to writing. Now, this program doesn't have to be a 6090. but that's how we're presenting it. So let's say you sign up for the program and after 60 days, you decided to take a couple weeks off. And so you're kind of running behind the 8 ball and you don't feel like you'll have it out until November. That's fine as well. You're welcome to work at your own pace. This is just to give us a guideline, to give us some goals to work towards, because what happens is we set these goals, and if we don't follow through with them, 1 week becomes a month and then becomes a year. So for example, for my first book, it took me 9 years to write that book because that's exactly what I kept doing. I was working 2 and 3 jobs. I didn't have time to write. When you're working, that many hours every week, I kept putting it on the back burner and putting it on the shelf. But finally, I sat down, I set some serious goals for myself, how many hours I was going to write a week. It always ended up being more because sometimes we get passionate about it, right? And motivated, and we just want to keep on going. So that's okay too, right? So some of my clients to date have written children's books, fantasy stories. They've written about trauma, so their own trauma. Some have written about trauma modalities that you can bring in to help yourself get over trauma and through trauma, and spiritual modalities. So most of the people that come to me tend to write a lot about healing, trauma, that sort of thing, spiritual awakening and awareness, and that's okay, right? I mean, it is what it is. You write whatever you want to write about. You can write an autobiography, you can write your own biography, the sky's the limit. So I just want to touch on some of my cheat sheet notes here, and I don't want to take too long on this because we know that we all have a short attention span. So let me just give you what some of this program is about. So what you will experience with us, I have a team of writers that assist me when we have more than what I can handle myself, but I oversee everything. So what will we learn? We will learn techniques on how to overcome obstacles to creativity, because that's a huge thing, right? Beating writer's block. How do we incorporate new thought? How do we do that? How do we connect with meaning and expand our writing skills? So the cool thing about the way that this program's going to function is there's going to be weekly check-ins. I'm going to have a Facebook group where we can all connect and support each other. Weekly tips and techniques and meetings whenever you need them. Some people only need a meeting once a month. Others like to connect every week. So it really is, it's up to you and I. That's what we have a personal discovery session, and we first of all talk about what your plans are as far as you have recognized them up to this point, and then we look to see, are we going to be a good fit to work together, right? Because we're going to be in each other's lives for a while. And then we talk about clarity. So becoming clear in the process, that's ongoing. We know that. And engaging, moving in momentum. So how do we keep that momentum happening? How do we keep it going? Okay. And what do we do when there's ease there? Is that okay? Do we always have to be in action mode and vigilant? No, of course not. That's not how it works. We have to have time to organize our thoughts. We have to have time to process them, in our body, mind, spirit, right? Because we can have those thoughts in our mind and our emotions and get them on paper, but then our body takes a little bit of time to catch up, especially when we're talking about personal depth and things that we've experienced in our lives. We're reliving some of those experiences over again, which is therapeutic, but it also can trigger us. So we have to take that time to wind down, right? Let's see what else. We're going to talk about how to use your book to optimize your purpose. So what is your purpose? Do you have this great big life purpose, or is it a purpose just connected to the book? You know, there's also the whole business aspect of it. Is this book going to be something that is going to help you launch your business? And maybe you've done some training and coaching or public speaking or healing modalities. Maybe that's what you want to do. You want to share that with the world globally, and you want to create an online presence so that you can help people. So we can talk about that. Or is this just going to be you know, something, our legacy that we pass down to our children and our grandchildren? Everyone has a different reason for writing their book, and those are just some of the examples. Okay, what else? Oh, we will also be, of course, visiting how do we upload our book and the formats that we will use and the designs that we'll use for our covers. That's a conversation that can happen anytime along that period of time that we're working together. So we also know that fall releases are the busiest time for books. So from probably about the end of September till about December is the busiest and most productive time for sales. So, and you know, it's frustrating because in the summer, we do tend to want to be a little more free-spirited and enjoy the summer. So winter almost seems like a better time to write, which can be true, right? We're a little more isolated, at least in the Canadian provinces and some parts in the US with our winters, but we can always stretch that out, right? I released my first book in, I believe that was August. And my second book, which is our collaborative, that went out in October. So we're still getting sales every month because we're listed on Amazon. So, you know, that comes in and then they just deposit that into your bank account, right? Whenever someone orders a book anywhere, they could order a book from India or from Australia. That goes into your account that they hold for you. And then at the end of each month, they deposit that into your bank account, right? So it definitely is a lucrative way to begin making extra money. Now, what are two of the biggest reasons why people struggle with challenges? One is vulnerability, because we know that when we begin writing, we're really excited about it. We're excited about the idea that we have. We just want to share it with everybody. But then what we don't realize is that we're pouring so much of ourselves into it, and that causes us to really feel that fear come up, and we just feel super vulnerable. So there's ways to work through that. I have a lot of techniques that I use myself that I share with all of my writers, because it's important for people to use those tools to help them get through the experience so that the book doesn't take 2 or 3 years to write. The other reason is restrictive thought. And that could be how we were raised. It could be the environment that we're living in. It could be just, it may just be a part of our personality and who we are. And we've learned, because we're the product of conditioning as human beings, and we've learned how to be restrictive and how to be, what I mean by that is restrictive and controlling, and just not allowing ourselves that freedom of thought, and to be able to tap into greater wisdom that is within us, right? Because we're all divine beings. So I have lots of exercises on that. And that's what part of the whole me reaching out to you every week, sending empowerment videos and tips and all that sort of thing to keep us going, to stay connected, to keep us accountable and help us to be empowered. Okay, as I said to you earlier, there'll be a personal coaching session. That's one free 30-minute coaching session so that we can just chat about your book, what you'd like to see happen for yourself, and me sharing my thoughts on it, and then seeing are we good, are we compatible to work together. Okay. So I could go on and on, like seriously, I wrote for days on this, and I'm just gonna have to just kind of leave it there because we would be here for hours and I don't want to bore you because it's a lot to absorb all at once. So what we'll do is, if you're interested, of course, just message me and we can have a chat. I'm also on WhatsApp. 306-980-7758. If you don't have the WhatsApp app, just go to the Play Store, download it, it's free, and then you can send me messages anytime. And again, like I said, on Messenger as well. So what are we looking at? Let's say, let me start at our lowest fee, which is $444.44, and that's editing services only. And that's up to about approximately 2,000 words. Okay, so let's say you already have your book together. I'm working with a fellow that wants to put a recipe book together, and so maybe he's adept at doing, you know, computer skills, and he gets his own manuscript together, and then he sends it to me. He just basically wants me to edit it, to make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted and the language is user friendly, and any pictures that he has are, you know, where they're supposed to be and that sort of thing. So that's your flat rate deal, $444.44. Okay. That person is going to take that manuscript and go with it, and they're going to upload it themselves. They're going to do all their own promotions. You know, they're already involved in that. Okay. Then we've got our 60-day plan. So that's $888.88. Before I go on to the two plans that we have, I want to mention, please feel free to Google, research self-publishing. Rates begin at $5,000 and go up to $100,000. The Writer's Cave prices begin at $444.44 and go up to $18,888.88. You can tell eights are my number, abundance, right? Okay, so with the 60-day plan, like I said, it's $888.88, and we can discuss financing with that. I offer payment plans. It's a personal issue. Some people pay everything up front. So when we chat, that's when we chat about it. Okay. So what do you get? You get guided coaching to get started. Getting started, we know, is the most difficult part. It's usually comprised of under 100 pages. It can be a fiction, a children's book, a journal, a program, whatever you choose it to be, your story. You get a writer's template. And we also talk about that template as you're building it, because we don't want every book to look the same. Go into a bookstore and pick up 3 books, 5 books. None of them look the same. There's so many different ways to write a book. You can headline chapters. You can have titles on your chapters. Maybe you don't have titles at all. Maybe it's just an ongoing story that you tell. Fonts are different. There's just 1,000,001 versions. So we want to find your uniqueness and your style, and that's what'll develop as you're writing. You'll have weekly tips, videos, content on writing, how to continue writing, all of that stuff. The editing, of course, is involved. Your cover, front and back, book sizing, your bio that belongs in the front of the cover. All of those things are part of the book. Your design. You're going to have Amazon, because that's where we'll upload it, right? So that you can get paid every month. And additional platforms that Amazon promotes, but we can also promote ourselves and join other groups as well. We've got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It goes on and on and on. And weekly tips to mastering. So your 90-day program is comprised of all of that. The same That tends to be, people tend to write more than 100 pages when it comes to the larger books. So some people might have a 300-page book. Let me just check on mine. I believe my first one was 200. So up to the writing point, 201, and then we've got our resources at the back and that sort of thing. So, and that's kind of the thickness that it is. So you got to remember, size is going to be different with all of them too. Some people have larger books, some people have smaller books, right? So with the 90-day plan, you get the same thing that you do in the 60-day plan. The only thing is it's a little more involved because there's more editing involved. People that purchase the 90-day plan tend to want to gravitate to more of a business mindset. So there's a level of professionalism in the sense of promoting the book as a business. So then we're going to talk about sales funnels and email marketing and Facebook and Instagram and all of the YouTube stuff and creating a YouTube channel and all of that. So it is just a little bit more involved, but basically the programs are the same. So if you feel like you want to find out more and you have lots of questions, just send me a message, send me an email, and we'll have a chat. Have yourself a great day.